Man, it is so nice to see a spring morning out there. We've just had way too much snow recently, which is unusual for Scotland in March. We had some pretty crazy weather here in Britain. We had what was dubbed the Beast of the East, and that really disrupted things. People were stuck in their cars overnight. Britain was panic buying bread and milk. Good thing I drank my coffee black. It weirdly enough had an impact on my business, which I wasn't expecting, because the type of people that my business targets just need an internet connection and a laptop to get work done. So I had a couple of really quiet weeks business-wise, to be honest, and that was quite stressful. You'd think that the busy times would be stressful, but at least when you're busy, you're making money. However, last week ended up making up for all of that quiet time, and I did as many sign-ups in 1 week as I used to do, or I usually do, over the course of a whole month. So that's good, and a couple of exciting things happened. I had an article published in Smashing Magazine. They get 2 million unique monthly views. Wow. I did an interview with Josh Pigford of Baremetrics for his podcast, and that came out too at Founder Chat. So I'll put links to this stuff below. Really excited about today. It's just so nice to start Monday with some sunshine. Now, a few weeks ago, or last week at some point, I tweeted as well as sent out an email to my newsletter saying that this is my last year photographing weddings. To my surprise, a lot of people messaged me back wanting to know more about it, and generally seemed quite surprised by this decision. So I thought I would explain my reasons why I've chosen insurance over photography, which is a sentence, trust me, I did not think I'd ever say, and also the reason why I don't think these two things can coexist anymore. Now, I'm still going to be taking photos for fun, I'm just not photographing weddings. But first, before I get into my reasons, a very quick backstory. So back in 2015, I was in this funny crossroads in my life. I had the photography business, which was doing very well, hadn't spent a penny on marketing or exhibition shows or anything like that, and yet the phone was ringing pretty consistently with new bookings. It would have been pretty easy to transition to full-time photography at that point in my life, but I had something else in my life that I couldn't stop thinking about, and that was building an insurance business, which on the flip side, photography was doing terribly. I had just been dropped by the insurer that I was an affiliate for, and I was finding it very difficult to get a new insurer on board, and that's a story for like another time, another video. So I was in this weird kind of stagnant place in my life where I couldn't attract higher end wedding photography clients because I wasn't doing it full time, and I wasn't making much progress with my insurance business because I was distracted with photography and other stuff. I knew I needed to double down on one of those things, and as pretty obvious from the content of this video, I chose insurance. So here are my reasons why. Number one, photography isn't all that scalable as a business. You can't shoot 365 weddings a year. So there's always a cap as to how much you can grow that side of the business. Now, you could of course start booking work and outsourcing it to other photographers and then take a cut of that, but that's not a business that I want to get into. So it just seems like photography, there's very much a limit as to how much money you can make and how far you can take things. At the moment, I'm charging £1,400 for a full day wedding, which on the surface seems like a lot of money, and it is, but If you take 30% of that away for taxes, insurance, the running costs of my business, I pay monthly subscription services for software, we're left with something under the £1,000 bracket. Now, that's still a lot of money, but if we look at last weekend's wedding I shot, I left my house at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't get home until 11:30 at night, which is pretty standard, to be honest. So that's 13.5 hour shift, and if we start looking at the hourly rate there, it's getting smaller. It's not just that, when I got home at 11:30, I wasn't done with the wedding. I then had hours and hours ahead of me of editing the wedding and then delivering the photos to the client. Then there's the insurance side of things, which is an internet business and ultimately will be running without the involvement of me 24/7. There's scope to grow, I can bring staff in, and also I can make sales without my direct involvement, although right now I am manually processing quotes, but even then it still works out better financially. For example, last night over dinner I decided to check to see if any quotes had come in. Which is unusual. People tend to shop for insurance during normal work hours, but to my surprise, somebody had bought a policy. Great, it took me all of 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, to send them their documents and finalise that sale. And I refreshed my quote tool to see if any more quotes had come through. And to my surprise, another sale had come through, which is really unusual for 2 sales in such quick succession. So again, another 5 minutes over dinner, sent them their policy, refreshed my quote tool, and another sale had come through. Like, what is this, Lucky Chicken stir fry? I had made some money over dinner. Now, actually, that sounds incredibly misleading. There was a ton of work involved in getting them onto WithJack's website in the first place. But I think you can see the point I'm making. There's much more room to grow and scale with insurance. Reason number 2 is a personal one, and it's that I kept missing life's big events. People typically celebrate events at the weekend, their birthdays, hen do's, baby showers, weddings. I've missed them all. But the one that really caught me up and still bothers me to this day is that last year I missed my friend's wedding because I was booked to shoot a wedding, and it was just it was a horrible situation. She's still my friend, surprisingly enough. But yeah, horrible situation. I don't want to miss those kind of events anymore. My third reason is that there are bigger challenges in the insurance industry. Now, don't get me wrong, wedding photography is really challenging, but there are more exciting problems for me to solve in insurance. For example, 73% of consumers don't trust their insurance provider. 74% of insurance companies see technological innovation as a challenge, yet few are developing their own offerings in-house or partnering up with startups. And 2 out of 3 customers are unhappy with their journey through buying insurance. Those are problems that I get excited about solving and want to do something about. And the reason that I don't think that wedding photography and building my insurance business can coexist is quite simple. I just find it really stressful juggling both of those things. I can't put 100% effort into both of those things. Last year was the first year that I juggled them both, and it was really stressful. WithJack isn't a physically demanding job, but it really is mentally and even emotionally draining. I just want to focus on one thing. So I hope that clears it up for you. That's why I chose insurance over photography, and that's why I've decided that this will be my last year photographing weddings. I'm meant to be at Creative Mornings right now, 8:30, but I'm not because a customer's having problems buying their policy online. It's time-sensitive policy. They need it for today because they start a new contract. The only time they can talk to me is 9:30, so I need to just go into the office and make myself available for that. But I did make it to Startup Grind on Tuesday night. I look awful. I look so ill. There were 2 guys there talking about how they built up their social media channels, their YouTube and whatnot to like 60,000 subscribers, the process of doing that. And I had kind of 3 takeaways from this fireside chat that I attended. The first is that this whole creating content, be it video, be it photos, be it getting your thoughts down onto a blog post and publishing it, that's scary for everybody. You're sharing a part of yourself with the world and essentially opening yourself up to criticism and judgment. Even with them and the length of time they've been doing it, they can still feel uncomfortable sitting down and making a video. So everybody feels scared about that. Just push through the discomfort. My second takeaway would be that people respond favourably to vulnerability. They both said that their most popular pieces of content were ones where they actually shared some challenges that they were facing. And the reason that I think people respond favourably to that vulnerability is because it makes you more relatable. You are human. You know, there's too many people with this highlight reel on social media. We're killing it. Business is going amazing. Everything's great. That's a load of crap. Behind the scenes, I can tell you there will be nights that they are crying themselves to sleep. We're all going through that stuff. And so being a bit more authentic online makes you more relatable to people. And my last takeaway would be that you really have to be prepared for the first year or so to just create a load of crap to get good at your craft. So it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, if you're taking photos, if you're making videos. They said that for the first year of their YouTube channels, they were just putting out a load of rubbish, and they're much better now. But to get to that point where they are good at doing it, they had to create a lot of mediocre footage in the meantime. Now it's Friday, I'm going to go into the office and hopefully end the week on a bang. I'll see you next time.